This video will introduce the wicked problem currently in the Gulf of Mexico. Welcome to the Gulf Dead Zone introductory video. This video will give information behind the growing amounts of eutrophication in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll start by introducing each member of the group individually, then discuss our strategies for working together as a team. After, we will define eutrophication and other key terms. Finally, we will explain how the process of eutrophication affects the Gulf of Mexico, with specific attention to the causes and sources, key stakeholders, and the impacts and effects of the issue. This video has been presented to you by the Science and Sustainability 110 Sustainable World, Eutrophication in the Gulf Research Group at Arizona State University.
Hello, my name is Alyssa. I'm a sustainability major. I live in Hawaii with my two kittens, Suki and Teddy. I work at Starbucks here and I go to ASU through their college achievement program. I chose eutrophication in the Gulf of Mexico because it was something I was already really familiar with prior to taking this class. Agriculture, farming, raising livestock, all those things and their effects on the environment really played a huge part in why I became a vegetarian, so it was only natural for me to pick something that I was already closely related to. I hope you guys enjoy our slideshow.
Hi, my name is Bailey Coker. I live in Dallas, Texas. I work for Starbucks and I'm a shift supervisor there. I recently just got transferred to a high volume drive-through in order to finish my development to become an assistant store manager, and then hopefully eventually be promoted to store manager and have my own store within the near future. This is my second term at ASU, and after my time here I want to eventually work for Starbucks corporate in their sustainability department. Some of my interests include running, painting. I do like to hike a little bit too. And the reason why I chose the eutrophication in the Gulf of Mexico is because I took an internship at the Sea Turtle Wildlife Conservation Center that's in Corpus Christi near the Gulf of Mexico, and the professor that I interned under touched on it a little bit, but I really haven't looked farther into it, and it's always piqued my interest a little bit, so that's why I chose the subject.
My name is Mark, and I'm a Year 1 Sustainability major through Arizona State University's online program. I was born and raised in Chicago. I currently work at Starbucks and am part of the Starbucks CAP program. I chose this issue because here in Chicago we are huge contributors to the problem, but we can also be part of the solution. Chicago influences a lot of what goes on around us, from the products we consume to our waste that gets carried upstream through the Mississippi River and eventually south into the Gulf of Mexico.
Hello, my name is Milena Spicer and I'm a third-year biology major with a minor in sustainability. However, this is my first session here at ASU. I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina with my husband, Nick, and my two cats, Echo and Pudding. I've always been very passionate about the environment, and once I complete my biology degree here at ASU, I plan on getting my master's in conservation ecology. So I felt like eutrophication in the Gulf of Mexico was a great topic for me since it's very much related to conservation. Next, we will be discussing how our team works together and how we plan on tackling this project. To help ease the stress that comes with trying to communicate in a group setting, we've chosen to utilize a few tools. We made a group chat to stay connected daily, or at least almost daily. This way, we can contact each other instantly in case someone has a question or concern about the project. We've decided to use Discord to video chat for our weekly meetings, or any other time we feel it would be helpful to have a chat. For file sharing, we are utilizing Google Drive. We've created a shared folder where we will put all documents, presentations, and other miscellaneous files related to our project. We've also come up with some guidelines to ensure the project is completed efficiently and without confrontation among the group members. We've made a session-long timeline that includes the project due dates, as well as the dates that we plan on having that part of the project complete. These goal dates are a few days ahead of the actual due dates, just in case. During our weekly meetings, the project manager We'll divide the work between the group members as evenly as possible to ensure that everything gets done in an efficient and fair manner. We plan on actively communicating and engaging with each other via text message anytime someone has a question or concern, or if we just want to check in on one another. Lastly, we have all agreed that we are comfortable giving and receiving feedback and constructive criticism, so long as we all remember to criticize ideas, not people. If need be, we will share feedbacks and criticisms in our weekly Discord meetings.
Okay, what is eutrophication? Eutrophication is the process by which a body of water becomes enriched in dissolved nutrients such as phosphorus or nitrogen that stimulate the growth of aquatic plant life, usually resulting in the depletion of dissolved oxygen. So, more simply put, too much nutrients in the water depletes the water of the oxygen, and the ecosystems that are left there can no longer survive, they can no longer function. Algal bloom, rapid growth or accumulation of algae in aquatic systems. Next, we have hypoxia, low or depleted oxygen in a water body that often leads to dead zones. And last, we have dead zone, a low oxygen area in a body of water where life cannot be sustained. So, what is the process of eutrophication? There's too much nutrients, no oxygen, ecosystems die, right? But it's a little bit more complex than that. So you start with your body of water. In this case, it's the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico runs through 31 states and is part of a major river network called the Mississippi Atchafalaya River Basin. So it runs through numerous large communities and affects not only the people there, but the aquatic life, the organisms and the ecosystems that live in the water. So, got your body of water. Next, you have your nutrient-rich chemical. In most cases, the most common source of nutrients found dumped in the Gulf comes from fertilizer, usually agricultural fertilizer from farming. And that fertilizer carries large amounts of nitrogen. The nitrogen found in the fertilizer becomes a food source for that algae, allowing the algae populations to grow and form the algal blooms, as we see here in the water. Algal blooms, in turn, contaminate the water, and the algae take all the oxygen, depleting the waters and creating dead zones where organisms and ecosystems can no longer function. They can't survive in that part of the water anymore. It becomes a complete dead zone.
Eutrophication happens when water pollution speeds up the aging process by the introduction of sewage, detergents, and fertilizers into the ecosystem it is being dumped into. Nitrogen was first introduced to farming fertilizer in the 1930s. The nitrogen found in the fertilizers are extremely harmful, and nitrogen is the number one cause of algae blooms in the Gulf. The Mississippi River Basin covers 52% of U.S. farms, and that drains into the Gulf of Mexico, so it is extremely impactful on the waters the nutrients are being dumped into. The first ever dead zone to be recorded was the Chesapeake Bay on the East Coast in the 1970s. One of the largest zones in the Gulf was in 1999, reaching its peak at 7,728 miles. Dead zones used to occur once every couple of years. Now they occur yearly. Springtime is usually the most frequent time we see dead zones because the weather is perfect for algae blooms.
There are several impacts and effects that eutrophication in the Gulf of Mexico has on the environment, such as biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety of life in the world or in a particular habitat or ecosystem. The absence of oxygen reduces biodiversity and causes the death of fish and plant species with the overgrowth of algae. Algae blooms in large sums block sunlight and oxygen from getting into the water, causing the water to become hypoxic and creates a dead zone where fish and plants cannot survive. Another impact that eutrophication has is on the economy and the reduced fishery yields. The Gulf supplies 72% of the U.S. harvested shrimp, 66% of harvested oysters, and 16% of the commercial fish in the United States. This also affects the livelihood of fishermen. Eutrophication causes death for several species like fish. Coastal economies rely on fishermen to catch fish and sell them to restaurants, local markets, and even private buyers. A lot of tourism in coastal areas comes from the fresh food sold in restaurants and the markets. Without fresh food at the restaurants, a lot of the experience that tourists gain cannot be provided. Fishermen will also be impacted as well because the lack of fish. The depletion of the fish population affects the fishermen because it decreases their source of income. Another effect that eutrophication has is on the human health and livelihood. Excess nutrients can both directly and indirectly lead to decrease in drinking water for humans. For example, if a pregnant woman were to drink water with too much nitrate, then her baby may be born with insufficient oxygen levels in their blood and suffer from blue baby syndrome. Algae blooms can also cause clogged pipes, cloudy waters, and interfere with recreational activities. Humans can also become ill due to shellfish poisoning caused by the biotoxins released from the algae.